And we're live! Hooray! We did it! We're here! I'm 4 minutes late. I apologize. I was chatting with Jill about topics for today and then got in a conversation and lost track of time. So yeah. Let's see. I gotta do the thing on Facebook. That's the wrong place. All right. Luckily, I can still stream into groups. I have not looked. I forgot to look up the exact date that they're getting rid of streaming into groups, but hopefully it's not too soon. But I have a plan on how to get around it, so I'm stoked about that. Hello, Via. How are you this morning? All right. Sorry, I was just getting rid of a comment on YouTube. This is not for that topic. For I forget your name because I deleted it. It was under a different channel. You got to keep things separate. All right. At everyone. Talking about snow in April. Lots of other writerly topics. That's what we'll call this. I did not have. I've been trying lately to actually have like my everyone post all ready to copy and paste, and today I totally forgot. So now I'm typing it out by hand. It reminds me of this thriller novel I read eons ago called Dead Air, and how like in radio you can never have dead air. There has to be sound at all times. I'm always thinking like, I'm creating dead air. This is terrible. All right. Jill just sent me a message that I don't know if I can respond to on air because I don't know who's listening. All right, so I am going to do that because you're not listening, person on YouTube. All right, good morning. Morning smoothie. I have not had a smoothie yet today. I probably won't actually eat until later because the outfit I'm wearing will make going to the bathroom too difficult. So gotta keep the food intake like scheduled later on in the day, kind of thing, you know. It's all part of the process. Okay, just organizing my windows a little bit here. Look, I'm a hot mess today for some reason. It's because of the snow. I'm going with that. You guys saw the title. It's snowing in April. It's currently sleeting / almost hailing out there, and there's snow on everything. And I have onions that are going to be very upset about this. They're actually growing really nicely too. I planted a whole bunch of onions and whatnot in the late fall, and they're coming up really nicely. Literal nightmares about dead air. That sounds awful, Dharma. And Jennifer said she had a Comic-Con this weekend. Which one? Give you a tip on selling in person. Yes, I have tips on selling in person. And a lot of this I learned from my years in business. I was oftentimes referred to as the booth babe when we would do business cons, not because of what I looked like or anything like that, but because I was super nerdy and had all the tech details. So of course I was the one that all people wanted to talk to and not the salespeople. So, you know, it's kind of like the booth babe, right? And so I learned a lot about cons and how to do well at them. And one of the number one rules we had at conventions that I still adhere to this day, except for 20 books because my feet hurt so much at the end of that conference that I cannot do this. But my rule is stand at your booth as much as possible. If you can't stand, then just look like you're engaged with the people going by and not anything in front of you. Because as soon as you sit down, you're going to pick up your phone, you're going to pick up something else, you're going to look down at something on the table, and you're not going to be looking out and looking up and being approachable. Your body language is going to change to closed in body language, and fewer people will come to your booth. So if you have to sit, a lot of people have to sit. Not everybody can stand for extended periods of time. If you have to sit, obviously, then just remember not to think about your body language. Think about how open and accessible you look, and go with that. But stand if you can, because it makes it easier to be approachable. Don't immediately say hi to every person who comes. And I think most of us we're adults. We can kind of read body language. Also, as authors, we're already shy, introvert people, so we're unlikely to say hi to everybody that comes. But if you see people picking up books and looking at the back of your book, chances are you've got an interested person there. And don't interrupt them while they're reading the back of your book. Obviously, wait till they're done doing that, because if they're interested enough to read the back of their book, don't start talking to them while they're trying to read a blurb. But then you could engage with them afterwards. You could say don't state the obvious, but you could maybe expand upon maybe the book, suggest hey, it's got some really great tropes like this, or it's about this kind of story, and it's part of a whole series. So here's book 1. I have book 1, 2, and 3 here, but there's also 4, 5, 6, and 7 that you can get and stuff like that. So those are, I think, some default ones. Bring a lot of book 1s and 2s and 3s, not too much further in series. Bring a couple omnibus editions. Some people will like to grab those. Have something at your table at $5, $10, $20, $30, $40, but mostly something at $5 and $10, and have a QR code or a card with a QR code that you can give people so they can just go buy the book online. Because you'll get people that will be oh, I only buy ebooks, and you're thinking, why are you standing at a booth full of books? And obviously it's because they're looking for things they want to buy, and you give them that card, and maybe stand a bit more of a chance of getting that purchase to go through later on. Some people also will do things where they'll sell, if you're already selling wide, you could actually sell people a digital code that they can then use it on your store and then get the book too. So there's some options like that. All right. So I drank out of a jar like that, had moonshine. This is our default cup at the house. This is what we always drink out of. I like drinking in mason jars. They hold tons of water. I should have 3 to 4 of these a day based on my body weight, and so I can really time pretty easily. Jill likes cold water, and I like room temperature water, so I drink out of these more, and Jill drinks out of cups that have insulators in them. Let's see. You're very welcome, Jennifer. Ebooks and audiobooks. Yeah, that's awesome, Jody. That's the way to do it. Elevated chairs is a great idea, Jody. I absolutely love that idea. Roland was my booth babe when it's AwesomeCon. That is perfect. That was priceless. I love that. It's really crazy in the chat and Facebook. I can only see the last 4 messages half the time, so I miss if I don't know your name, and it might be because I didn't see it. Let's see. Morning to everyone. Hello. Hey, William Stacy. How are you doing? No snow in Virginia, 52 degrees. I mean, I actually don't know what the temperature is right now. Currently, my computer showing me the NASDAQ. It's 34 degrees, technically. So who knows what's going on out there. But their snow is actually accumulating, which I'm not happy about. Well, it's going to be 61 on Saturday or something like that. So it's all going to go away. Wow, snow in Arizona. It's weird, right? We never... I cannot remember the last time we got snow in April, and we got no snow all winter. There's only for 2 brief periods where there snow on the ground this winter, and then we get snow in whatever the heck time of year this is, April. Gem State Comic Con in Boise. Oh, cool. That makes sense. That I guess because you live thereabouts, right? Do you live in Boise or do you live in Utah? Idaho or Utah? I forget. Hello, Charles Stromville. It's been a while. All right, I think I'm getting caught up here. Elevated chairs, fantastic. It's Bruce. Does coffee count as water? I mean, it's made with waters. Interesting side note, by the way, coffee is not proven to be a diuretic. I think it was the University of Philadelphia, the University of Pittsburgh. They did a meta-study, and meta-study is when they take a whole bunch of other studies and they sort of look at their criteria and their results and sort of how they measured and quantified the results. And then they take all of that data Um, and then they just basically do a meta study on top of that data because it allows you to like study the results across a much wider base. And obviously there's some restrictions if data was collected in different ways or normalized in different ways within the studies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, they did a meta study and they found that 50% of studies show that yes, the coffee is a diuretic, and 50% of studies show that coffee is not a diuretic. And what their conclusion was is that it seemed to be that if you've already drank a bunch of water and then you have coffee, you've added more liquid into your body and you're more likely to pee. And if you're kind of dehydrated and you drink a bunch of water, or you're not overhydrated, then coffee will not make you have to pee any more than normal. It doesn't actually have any particular property that will actually cause your body to pee out the coffee and additional water, which is what a diuretic does. So anyway, not a diuretic, which actually means that the water in coffee counts as water. Fun side note about coffee, since this is like already like the massive side note thing here this morning. So our Jill has discovered that acidic water causes her a lot of problems, and coffee especially was causing her tons of problems. So now what she discovered is that she got a jug that actually deacidifies. It's got like a filter. It's kind of like a Brita jug, and it deacidifies the water and like normalizes the pH of the water, and it like cleared up a bunch of issues for Jill. So if you have issues that you think might be caused by more acid than you should have, you should totally reach out to Jill about this. So now we make the coffee with that, and I find the coffee to be much better tasting because it's not nearly as acidic because I'm not starting with acidic water. And granted, your water may not be acidic where ours is. Our water is super sus here. Like it doesn't, if you leave the water out, if you just pour water out of the tap and you leave it out and you drink it the next morning, it will not taste good. We filled up our pool one time because we had to get the liner replaced. So we filled up our pool with water from the hose. And wow, once you get 9 feet of that water to look through, it be green. It's some green ass water. Which I guess maybe means it's low chlorine. I guess that might be a good thing. But so now we have a filter on our cold water and we run it through the additional deacidifier thing. And it is fantastic. Anyway, filtered water through coffee grounds. Exactly. And actually, if you remember from high school physics, if you've ever done these tests, that filter, like the filter itself that the coffee grounds are sitting in is an actual filter that is capable of filtering contaminants out of your water. Okay, Jody, I gotcha. Cool. It's Jill. That is awesome, Charles. Good to hear. Southern Idaho. Okay, I thought it was Idaho. Yes. I think this is actually a dress, but it looks like a cat suit from the waist up. Totally. It's actually like it's called a hobble dress. It's like a really tight maxi dress all the way down, but it's also made of thick rubber, so it's hard to move in, which is kind of the point. I'm doing a challenge right now, where I'm only wearing latex for like an entire week, and for like one of my Instagram things and whatnot. And so this is the last day, so I want to wear something awesome. So that's what I'm wearing. Oh, really? Who said this? I'm kind of curious. Oh, it's Jody that said that. Interesting. I'm glad that the notification popped up because it's funny how so many people say like they watch the replays, and some of them say because they never get the notification. I know some people actually set alerts and whatnot to get it. Yeah, it is a filter jug. Cool filter jug. Reach out to Jill if you're curious about it. So yes, both of those colors are not colors you want the water to be, and you'll never see it. So here's the interesting thing: you'll never see it in a glass or even like a jug or a sink full of water. It took like a pool volume of water to, so you're looking through, because our pool is 9 feet deep. So you're looking through, or 3 meters for our non-American friends, give or take a bit. And it was quite eye-opening to see at the deep end how green it was. Yes, Jill did have to shine the back of my dress because I can't reach the back of my dress. My particular brand of autism does not actually, I can't do loose clothing. I feel very unprotected, and it makes me actually have a low level of anxiety to wear loose clothing. I still remember growing up as a kid, as one is when one is growing up. One of my things I would do is I would crawl under my bed. So it was like a regular bed right on the floor. I would crawl under my bed, and I would always have stuff under the bed. And sometimes I would bring a blanket under there with me, which was terrible because it's super clean under your bed. And I would just like cocoon myself under the bed to feel safe. Um, so yeah, I don't do. I've always liked things to be tight and not a little bit constricting, but like you get like the feeling of this all over body hug, and it actually feels really like safe. When you wear like a cat suit like this, it actually feels, or in this case it's a dress, but it feels like armor. It's actually super cool. This is like not any of the topics I plan on talking about today, but that's okay. No, we don't. It might need softeners, but you aren't supposed to drink the softened water. Like if you use a softener on your water, you're not supposed to use. That's supposed to be for your washing your body and your. At least this is how they were when I was growing up. Maybe there's new softeners now, but growing up, the water softener system we used back in Saskatchewan was not for the drinking water. So it was like for the clothes washing water and the cooking, not the cooking water. Not that either. I don't know. I think it was in the hand washing and the showering. That's what it was. Not the cooking. So the kitchen didn't use the softened water. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just a baby that still needs to be swaddled. That's the way it is. All right, so I'm guessing a bunch of you are dealing with snow though, so that was the main theme, right? Like it's snowing today, and this is terrible, and it shouldn't be happening. But I'm curious. So I'm curious if has upgraded from blankies to latex and spandex. A lot of spandex. Anything with the X, it's got to have the EX in there, right? But now I can't think of the topics I was going to talk about. Well, there are a couple things. I'll do a little bit of housekeeping because that's kind of, there's some neat things happening. Our first guest on Lunch with Mal will be here on the 25th. So 3 Thursdays from now, it'll be Lunch with Mal, and we'll have Ashley Lefray. I think I'm getting her name right. She's oftentimes here, so she can correct me if she's not. Yeah. Also, maybe there might be some water softening systems that are okay to drink. Ours added salt basically to soften the water, so that's why. I mean, we could talk about coffee and latex all hour. That'd be fine too. I'd be cool with that. But yeah, Ashley Lefray is going to be here on the 25th, and we're going to be talking about finances and accounting and businessy things for authors from someone who's a professional in that sphere. And we also have another guest speaker coming on in May, talking about custom, very fancy, special custom books for Kickstarters and your store, any sort of direct sales you might want to do. And then also we might be having a woman named Dana coming on, and she's a serial businesswoman. It's one of the things I love about her. She can't rest without starting a business, and seems to start multiple ones a year. But they're all sort of always like centered around the same thing, just sort of like taking what she knows and then creating an offering or something to help people in a new vertical or a new industry. But one of the, she's a whale reader as well, and she reads like mad. And she's actually offering a course for authors, giving them feedback on covers, blurbs, and other marketing materials from a whale reader's perspective, like what draws her in, which I think that's really kind of interesting because a lot of times with and she's a very analytical person. She has like a business effectively crafting workflows, data flows, spreadsheets, databases, all sorts of things like that for people. So she's a very analytic person. So it's not just someone sort of saying like, I don't know, I like blue covers, I guess. Like she's going to get into some nuts and bolts and talk about, about what it is about these things that are attracting her. I think she reads a lot of romance, cozies, and mysteries, and maybe thrillers. So that will probably be especially interesting for people who write in those genres. And I think it's only $50. So if you're interested in attending that or getting access, I don't know if it's a course or if it's a webinar, you can reach out to Jill and she can hook you up and you can get that. I think it's actually a really great thing because it's so often it's authors talking to readers, distilling that information through author brain, and then saying it to other authors. I think the opportunity to get that get like well-examined data from a reader is actually really useful. So that'll be super cool too. All right. So I always, sometimes I get like sidetracked. I'm like, how do I segue into my topics? But actually, I'm curious if anyone has any other questions. Kelly had sorry, not Kelly, Jennifer had a great one at the start about suggestions for direct selling. And I love the fact, I think Comic Cons are becoming more and more of a good place for authors to do direct selling. And another great thing, actually, by the way, if you ever do any direct sales, like in person, or even go like to a signing, which of course is oftentimes direct sales as well, but like kind of like what you're doing at a signing and what you're doing at Comic Con are slightly different because everybody coming to a signing intends to buy books and oftentimes from the genre that you write in, whereas something like a Comic Con, that's not exactly how it's panning out. Yes, but I think there's actually a lot of writers, like they're in the industry in a different way, you know. So, but yes, I think it would be similar to that. But watch people's faces as you tell them about your books, and you're going to do this. You're going to be doing this already automatically because you're a human, and that's what we do when we talk to other humans. We watch their faces for nonverbal cues as to whether or not they're engaging with what we're saying or not. But like, pay attention to the things that get their attention and make them interested, and the things that seem to lose their interest, because that can really be useful information to help you with your general marketing with blurbs and whatnot. You talk about one trope and nobody seems to care, and you talk about another trope and boom, every single person has their attention, and that's actually the thing that gets them to buy. I have this one book, and if I talk about the character journey and what the character has to deal with, I will sell that book every single time. If I talk about the plot and more of a plot angle with this particular book, it will never sell. So, well, it depends on the audience. There's one audience. There's actually two different audiences for the book, and they do not cross. So one description works well for one audience, another description works well for another different audience. The tricky thing, of course, is that when you're selling a book on Amazon, you've only got one blurb you can put in. But it was still really interesting to learn that sort of thing too. So Jody says, Awesome Con had author allies, all the authors in one section, made it easier. That's cool. I like that, rather than just all the authors just sort of being stuffed into Artist Alley. That's what I do too. I will also say things like, so I'll usually say like, do you love reading sci-fi, or do you enjoy sci-fi? And usually they say yes. Sometimes they say no, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, thank you for letting me know. Everything here is sci-fi, and we don't have to waste each other's time any further. But yeah, I'll say like, like, what kind of sci-fi do you like to read? Are you like Star Wars? Are you like Firefly? Are you into like dirt pounding, military sci-fi, high concept AI stuff? Because I actually write stuff in almost all of those subgenres, so then I'll guide them accordingly. That's awesome. That is really cool, Jody, that you guys did that. I like that a lot. Washington, D.C. Cool. Was it big? How many authors were there? Did you guys get a lot of traffic? Yes, that's exactly what I should do if they don't like that. All right. You are very welcome, Jennifer. Hopefully other people will find them interesting as well. I'm curious if anyone has any questions though, like anything about marketing, anything about releases, Kickstarters, direct sales that's going on. We've had huge for authors. That's good. Maybe it might be worth making the trip down there. Bad reader, bad. Oh, it's your first con. That's cool, Jody. That's awesome. I like that. So yeah, I just found myself wondering if I'm streaming to the right places on YouTube, but I am. All right. I was getting a bunch of weird people showing up on the YouTube side of things. And I'm just like, why are these people showing up? Did I stream to the wrong place? But I didn't. I have streamed to the correct places on YouTube. All right. Anyway, so Dharma's planning on doing Rave. Yeah, there's a couple ways you can get your books there. You can actually ship them to the hotel, and they will actually send them to your room if you do it that way. But you can also ship them to to the the conference area, and then they will bring the books out to your table at the right time. We didn't do that. We had them just shipped to our room because we needed a bunch of things for vendor day, and then we needed things for rave afterward. It's kind of a pain in the butt because we got to haul the stuff down from our room. Next year we will do that differently. Actually, maybe it's just vendor day that you could ship things to the actual conf space. That might not have been possible for rave. I'm not sure. Hopefully they might be able to give some more details on if that's possible. The worst case scenario, you ship them to the hotel, and then they'll actually have someone bring them up to your room, and then you'll cart them down at the time. A lot of times, so you can actually fit a lot of your books in a carry-on, but the problem is that carry-on, a lot of times you're going to pay $50 for that carry-on, or not carry-on, check baggage, whereas you could probably ship them medium mail for a lot less than that. So, do you have a view on pricing for AI narration? Most AI narration is so cheap compared to human narration that the price doesn't really matter that much. Like, I think 11 Labs will give you enough time enough like AI processing speaking time a month that you could do a book a month for something like $50, depending, I guess, on how long your book is. So it's pretty inexpensive. So it's not something that is a too big a deal. There's also a number of tools now where you can actually speak yourself, and it will use AI to alter your voice, but not just changing the existing sound waves. The AI listens to what you said and then re-speaks the words. So you can actually have all of your own correct pronunciation and inflection and everything like that. Obviously more time consuming than just uploading a book, but sometimes a lot of people have found that they just upload the book and they've got a lot of weird words and whatnot that they spend a lot of time trying to get, or even just some non-standard words, or even names like Eevee, for example, is a hard word for a lot of AIs to pronounce. So that's another method you can do. I think there's one called Meta Voice will do that. I think there's a couple others that will do that sort of thing too. Those ones are a little bit more expensive because the processing's harder. But it'd be kind of cool. You could narrate all the different parts of your book and then stitch it all together with different voices and everything, and making sure all the inflection and everything is correct. Couldn't ship to rave. Okay, I was afraid of that. Yeah, it is oftentimes stressful, to be honest. It's kind of a pain how stressful it could be to get your books there. All right. So we got lots of questions now. Good. Because I decided I didn't want to talk about my topic for the day. So I like this better. I have a Facebook question. My ads can be drawing fake. Your account is about to be turning scams. It's unfortunately kind of comes in waves on Facebook. And it's super annoying. And there's nothing to do but basically report them when they show up. If they're coming in through Facebook Messenger, you just report them. If they're coming in through email, unfortunately, I guess you can still report them as spam. That might help a little bit, but yeah. They're just trying to steal your credentials. And you'd really think that Facebook would be good at detecting and stopping a lot of this stuff, but it's really not. Because they'll put up pages. They make pages on Facebook, and the page is called Facebook support or something like that. So you land on it, you think you're at some sort of Facebook support page, and you fill out this form, and boom, now they've got your information. It's upsetting, but no, there's not much that can be done about it. All right. Building IG Reels. Yeah, we could talk about that. When I build Reels, a lot of the time what I'll do is I just use a still image or maybe 2 images or 3 images, but oftentimes just one. Or it's just a static video of someone flipping through pages, or it could be me flipping through pages. It seems like you don't need a lot of really good video to make it work well. That being said, if you actually spend the time to actually get a really well edited thing, it's got nice scene transitions and all sorts of things, they can work really well. But the problem is you've only got 17 seconds, and a lot of times the super simple ones work better anyway. So I generally tell people just to go super simple. And then for copy, what I do is I actually just look for the same amount of text you would see on a TikTok. Not a lot of text at all. So when I'm making ads for people, I'll borrow the book or buy the book, and I go look at commonly highlighted areas of the book, because you can just look at popular highlights and see what readers are finding really interesting in the book enough to highlight. And a lot of times I'll use that as a foundation or a starting point for the actual copy that's going to be on the reel. You can make them in Canva pretty quickly. They have a preset for it. And then of course, I don't worry too much about the music. I just find stuff on Adobe Stock. And I don't use the stuff that Canva has because it's awful. And it's just, basically you're just putting the text onto the image just like you're making it in TikTok or something like that. So again, I do it all in Canva. You could, I guess, do it on your phone in Instagram as well. That's also possible. But I like doing this stuff on a computer. I find doing that stuff on the phone just to be so tedious, to be like holding my phone, trying to like type all this stuff out and position everything and whatnot. It's much easier to do that with a mouse and keyboard. So hopefully that's like somewhat interesting. If you have follow-on questions, let me know, Kelly. Let's see. Couldn't ship to Rave. We shipped to Paris. Yeah, because we were saying. Yeah, but I feel like this wasn't this at the vendor day, honey? Or was it? I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, you meant for AI books. Was that view on AI pricing? Oh, you mean the pricing for the books? I'm so sorry. I completely answered that wrong. Cheap. But see, the interesting thing that I found out is I talked to a lot of authors. So I guess it depends, right? Like if you're doing like a good AI narration with 11 Labs, where you listen to the whole thing and you correct pronunciations, or you have like a teenager that you can get do it, or readers that will help out or something, and you get like a good narration and you even do like multiple voices and stuff like that, then you can charge like a regular amount for that book, because to be honest, most people won't be able to even tell that it's AI narration. However, if you're just using the pure default automated narration that Amazon is offering, I'm actually kind of the opinion that you shouldn't do it, because it is so bad and no one buys them. I've talked to a lot of authors, and a lot of them said that they've had zero sales of those books. They just don't sell. So all you're doing is putting out a product that reflects poorly on you in that case. Like I don't know of any authors who've had like more than like one or two of them sell. I'm just thinking to myself, well, then it seems like it's something that would reflect badly, because they don't sell because they're not good. So if you do have them, maybe make it like crazy cheap, like $2 or something like that, just to see if people, at least you can be like, hey, I know it's not great, but I'm not going to bilk you for it. Speech to speech is not 11 Labs. They're text to speech. Meta Voice will do speech to speech, and there's another one too. I think maybe it's Voice.ai that does speech to speech. All right. Let's see. This person says, I feel like there's a whole bunch more messages. Okay. I was like, my scroll bar hadn't caught up. We're in pre-launch for next Kickstarter. Excited. Do you have any tips or tricks? Get as many people as you can to follow you during your pre-launch. Absolutely. Like push hard on that. Because the faster you fund, the more likely you are to get some sort of like organic or algorithmic feature by Kickstarter. Well, actually, I'm trying to remember now if Kickstarter actually has algorithmic featuring, or if humans do it and they just pay attention. I think humans do it and they pay attention. But either way, like the faster you fund. Oh, and when you do fund, change your main banner to be like funded in 5 hours or something like that. Don't make your funding amount so low that's kind of like, well, no kidding, you funded, but don't make it so high that you're concerned you might not actually fund. Like if you're aiming for like $20,000, make it $3,000 or $4,000, or at least 1,000. Don't make it some crazy low number like $50 or something like that, because in a way, your funding amount kind of like also shows people how serious you are about the Kickstarter. And if it's set so low, they're like, oh, so this person's just going to half-ass it. They want to know that you actually need enough money to make a decent product and put together something nice. So I think that would be a good tip. The middle will have a lull. Don't stress out about it, and keep some things under your hat until the end that you can use to entice some people that you didn't entice. Don't lay everything out right away. Okay. See, Jody says, this is a mailroom. No one brought to her table. Yeah, that might be what that was then. Dun, dun, dun. All done ourselves. That's what we did. I think maybe that might have been Jill that said that. What are your thoughts on selling on TikTok? I want to have more thoughts on selling on TikTok, but I haven't actually done it yet. I do know that there are authors out there who are doing very well with it. Um, but I also feel like probably your TikTok content that's going to do well for selling stuff is the same TikTok content that would do well just for organic reach and likes normally. So one thing I have learned with TikTok, and not through myself, but with other authors, many of whom are beautiful and highly attractive people, that even for those folks that I would that should be a joy to look at. Showing their faces doesn't work as well as showing the book. Um, it's a blow to everybody's ego and a relief to everybody at the same time. But yeah, your book, talking about your book, showing tropey images, all that sort of thing is going to work better than your face. I would recommend against, like, you don't want to make it too talky, right? Like, it's only going to be like 12 to 17 seconds long. So you could have some music and just some text, and that's fine. Like, you don't actually have to have your voice in there. Or you could have, like meme stuff happening or stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of times if you have like a really salesy pitch, it's not going to work. So remember, you're always hitting on the emotions. It's emotion, emotion, emotion when it comes to selling books. So we're talking a bit here about the stupid emails. I have a couple. I've had a couple that were so good they almost sucked me in. Like, I was like looking at it, being like, I clicked the link and I'm like, it's on Facebook. It's had like all this official Facebooky things, and because Facebook hadn't banned the page yet. Usually Facebook bans the pages pretty quickly. But then I went back and looked at the from email address. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But the tricky thing with Messenger is Facebook actually does have an official Messenger bot that will send you things about your ads. So it's tricky. And they will also email you things about your ads. So yeah, these people are smart. And they're getting better and better all the time. So what I always do is I sort of independently will go to my page and see if like my ad manager or wherever they said the problem is, and see if there's any notices there. If there's nothing, then I only once I click a link because it was really good. It got me. Kelly says, I've been trying out CapCut and IG templates lately. I agree to grab more stock footage and through local bookstores. So you said that before. I said you probably won't work as well. CapCut's great. So yeah, absolutely use CapCut. I suggest mainly Canva because it's cheaper, but CapCut is also fabulous. I think I'm giving up on all the people on YouTube for my profile who are like asking me about my outfit. There's a lot of them. It's like, folks, this is about author business stuff. I just happen to be wearing latex. But I'm not going to talk about latex a lot, unless everybody wants me to talk about latex a lot. I think they don't. I think they actually want me to talk about authoring things mostly. All right, so definitely love Canva though. Yeah, because you can do it anywhere. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I think I guess for me, one of the reasons why I like Canva too is I can do it live and share it with the person I'm doing it for, saying this is how we're going to do it. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so confirmation, no sales from audiobooks for Amazon narration. Yeah, so still batting zero as far as authors who've actually seen any noteworthy or even any sales from Amazon narration. Actually, I should correct that. They actually won't show up as sales. They show up as a type of page read, if I miss my guess. So some people are getting some, they're just not aware of it. So that might be the case too. So I should clarify that, but they won't show up as a regular audiobook sale. So I usually do the marketing for the Kickstarter. So if you message me if you want a few tactics. Oh, cool. That was for the other person. Yes, that's awesome. Hooray. How do you scale up on a book doing good with ads? So assuming then that the book is already selling well and you want to scale up the ad. So the first thing I'll look at is I want to look at my conversion rates. So for me, a book is doing good with an ad. I use the Amazon attribution tracking. And it's not the be all end all. It doesn't have all the data, but I'm going to look for books that are getting more than 10 pages read per click, ads. They're getting more than 10 pages read per click. Or if it's a wide book, I'm looking for something in the neighborhood of like 35 or fewer clicks to make a sale. And then those ones will be good candidates to scale up. And then I'll go and I'm going to look at the cost per click, kind of in tandem, right? Because if I'm getting really good pages read or sales, but I'm paying 40 cents per click, chances are it's not going to be profitable anyway. I need something that's in the teens to scale. Also, because as you scale, cost goes up. So I want something that's converts really well and has a really nice low CPC. And then the next thing I look at is my result rate. If my result rate's good, it's, if I'm writing like a mainstream genre and it's above 6% or higher, it's above 10%, I'm like, cool, this ad is people that see it like it, and they click and they like what they see there and they buy. If it's got a really low result rate, like 3%, then I'll be like, if I scale this thing, I might start busting out of this core audience that converts well, and it might not scale. So I want something that converts, has a low CPC and a high result rate, because all of those things will get worse as you scale and spend, because you're going to start moving out of that core super interested in this topic audience to people that are tangentially interested in the topic, or people that might be more expensive to reach because they're currently shopping for other more expensive things. So Facebook has to bid you up to reach those people. So you're looking sort of for those like ads that sort of are ticking all those boxes, and then you scale them slowly. For a while, we were in a happy place. We used to have to scale really slow. Then we got so you could scale fast, and now we're back to really slow again. And the problem is that Facebook is using AI. They call it Advantage Plus to do a lot of their audience stuff now. And if you scale too fast, they might actually rebuild your audience, and they might build the wrong audience. So you actually kind of want to scale like $5 every day or two to be safe. If you're kind of crazy and you got a lot of ads that are working well and you want to go big, you could scale bigger than that. But if you kind of want to be cautious and you want to keep a good ad working, you got to scale like that. And in many regards, sometimes just the answer is just make more ads, even if they're almost identical. Sometimes that actually works better for scaling too, because you don't have to worry about one ad kind of going sideways. You can have a lot of ads that can all convert well at a lower price, because actually every ad will eventually die. So keep that in mind, that if you have all your eggs in that one ad basket, it will eventually die, and then you're going to be scrambling to get another good ad going. So you should have a couple of good ads going at all times too. What is your opinion changing the title of a book that's been under sale for 5 years or more? Do it. If you think that your current title is not working, change that title. I have a book that was called Destiny Lost. It was the first book leading into my flagship series, and my best performing ad for it always said the Lost Colony Ship, and people like that was the headline, because the book's about a lost colony ship. And I would get so many people coming and saying, I clicked this and it took me to a different book, not one called The Lost Colony Ship. And for like years, like a fool, I tried to educate these people and be like, well, that's because that's what the book's about. That's not the title of the book. You got sent to the right place. After, I'm like, why am I doing this? So I changed the title of the book to The Lost Colony Ship, and sales went up by 20% just by doing that. And I didn't have to spend any more time explaining to people why the book is titled what it's titled either. Like it became so easy. So yeah, do it. You can always change it back, right? All right. Does this Amazon edition exists in Canada? I don't think it does. But it's also in beta. So I don't know if it's that it hasn't rolled out to Canada or that it hasn't rolled out to you in Canada. So it could be either of those things. All right. Well, I caught up on everything. And holy crap, it's 12:47. We've actually done 45 minutes already. Well, 43 and a half, I guess. This was a fun chat. I like this. And I didn't have to go into a much drier topic that was the only one I could think of beforehand anyway. So you guys rocked. You saved me, and we had a great time. And yes, for the folks who are on YouTube that are here for the rubber, I do wear rubber a lot, so you can oftentimes see me in rubber. It's just a regular part of my life, and all of my author friends who are not into rubber don't seem to mind. So it's a win-win for all of us. But yeah, if no one else has any questions, then I am going to split, because I have it's our team ad meeting is at 1 on Thursdays now, which keeps me from rambling too long on this, because I have to get ready for the team ad meeting. I'm sure I've mentioned before, but it's super cool. There's now 5 of us working on ads for the Writing Wives, and it's pretty awesome to have a lot of viewpoints and different ways of looking at problems. It's helping us out a lot. We actually, one last segue. We had a client that we're working on, and I had kind of like cursorily read through the first chapter of the book and was like fairly happy. Like I was like, okay, it's doing what it's supposed to do. You know, it's doing this thing, and I guess just because of my personality or something, I didn't find the main character particularly abrasive. But every other person on the team said that this main character at the beginning of this book would mean that the book is a do not finish for them. And so we're going to be doing a little more research into that, kind of reaching out to some more people and trying to see, like, is this the reason why we're getting so many clicks and not nearly enough reads? Because people just do not like this main character, and like see if we can maybe even work with the author to help them like soften that main character a bit. And that's the thing that, like, I don't know, on my own I would have come up with that. I wouldn't have actually sat there and said, because that wasn't my genre, right? Like I was probably not going to read the book anyway. But now that we have this larger team, and we have fairly broad reading taste amongst all of us, we actually all read. There's someone or at least one person who reads everything now that we do. So and we also have it so that pretty much every account has a second set of eyes. So it's pretty awesome. US only, and invite to beta, Jill says, for the AI narration. So sorry, William. Well, thank you, Smokey. I really appreciate this. As I love it when people can catch it live, but I also love all of you who watch the replay, watch it not live. I get so many people that tell me that they do. It's mind blowing and super cool. And I love it. So hi to all you guys, and thanks for making it to the end. And I will see all of you fab folks next Thursday for what is going. Oh wait, no, I might not have. Wait, I lost track of days. I will be here next Thursday. However, where is it here now? I was all the way in May 2nd. We will not have a lunch with Mel, or we may not have a lunch with Mel. We'll see, because I'm going to be at the Oklahoma Writers Federation conference. So that's that. But for the next 4 weeks, we will have lunch with Mal's. 3 weeks, we'll have lunch with Mal's. So I will see you guys there. Or see you guys next week, around, all that stuff. Have a good one. If it's snowing where you are, I feel your pain. If it's not, a little bit of jealousy. But it was a super El Nino last year, so we are scheduled to have the hottest year in recorded history this summer. So I guess I should be a little bit grateful that we're getting some extra rain and snow right now, but because we're gonna get baked in July. So anyway, random thoughts from Mal, which is what most of this is anyway, right? Okay, bye everyone. Have a fabulous day and weekend. Ciao.